Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys checking today's video out. Always grateful for that. And guys, today we're going to discuss a topic that is all too familiar to most fishermen if you fish long enough, and that is what to do if everybody around you is catching them and you're not catching them. It's inevitable at some point. That's just the way fishing goes. So we're going to really discuss that and talk a little bit about what you can do to turn that around for you guys. So hey guys, real quick before we get started, just a couple quick housekeeping tips here. Just want to remind everybody out there that as we're coming to the end of the month on the sale on my Solar Bat series, RB2 series sunglasses I'm wearing here. And if you buy a pair by the end of the month, which is just a couple days from now, you get 30% off on the glasses, and also any purchase over $56, you get a $30 grab bag full of Solar Bat sunglasses free. So I'll put the link in the description if you guys want to check that out. Much appreciate it. Okay guys, it's one of the most frustrating things in fishing is when you hear everybody's catching them, everybody's talking about their catching them, and you're struggling to get a bite. Now what do you do in a situation like that? First thing that you have to remember, guys, in bass fishing is that when somebody is catching fish and you're not catching fish, a lot of times you tend to give those people sort of superhuman powers. It's like, man, you might say something like, I just suck as a fisherman. They must know so much more about fishing, or they're just so much sharper than I am, and you begin to have a lot of self-doubt. It's never that way, guys. If you talk to somebody that's catching fish, probably 95% of the time or more, it's like, that is so simple, why didn't I figure that out? It's never anything complicated. It never is. It's always something that just about somebody made a decision that was the right decision to make at the time. Let's use this as an example. Let's say that it's fall time of the year, and you think that they're going to be biting topwater, and you've been out there throwing topwaters all day long, and you can't catch any fish on it, you can't get bit on it, and it's just frustrating. And then you come into the dock and you hear somebody, it's like, man, I caught this 20-pound bag fishing topwater all day. And then you start to get frustrated. But if you go over and to talk to those people, it's usually something like this. It's like, say for example, you were trying a Xeraspook and a buzz bait and a popper or something like that. And you go over to that person and say, man, I threw topwater all day long. I threw Xeraspook, a buzz bait, and a popper, and couldn't get a bite. And that guy would say something like, yeah, that was the same for me. I tried those baits and I couldn't do any good at all. But then all of a sudden I put on a horny toad, a soft plastic horny toad, and they just started eating it up because they didn't want anything that was like real loud or noisy. They wanted a little bitty soft gurgle of a horny toad. It's always just something like that. It's some simple thing that you didn't have time to do, because in bass fishing, guys, you don't have time to do everything. It's like there are literally hundreds and hundreds of different possible things that can work on any given day on the water. And you don't have time to try hundreds of different techniques. The only thing that you have time to do, if you've got 4 or 5 or 6 hours to fish, you can only try so much in that period of time. And sometimes you land on that, and sometimes you don't. So here's what you can do is if you hear everybody's catching them and you're not catching them, there's 2 different things that you can do. Number one is analyze the conditions out there, your sunlight conditions, your wind conditions, water conditions, all that type of stuff, and give it your best guess on the techniques that you think are going to work, and stay with a handful, 3 or 4 techniques for the day. And instead of trying different techniques, try modifications within those techniques. Let's go back to the topwater. Let's say you were using a white buzz bait, and instead of putting down the buzz bait, go to a black buzz bait. Or if you were fishing a 1/2 ounce buzz bait, downsize and go to a little 1/4 ounce buzz bait. That's the type of adjustments that you need to make within the lures, either some type of a profile change or some type of a color change. That's one aspect of it. The next thing that you can do to make the adjustment is you have to change your pattern, or change the area that you're fishing. Let's say, for example, you start off in the morning and you wanted to throw those topwaters on main lake points, and it was maybe you got a couple bites or something in the morning, and and then you can't get a bite after about 8 o'clock, and nothing's working that you're trying. It's 11, 12 o'clock in the morning, and you haven't had a bite since the first hour of daylight, and you've been fishing the same stuff for 3 or 4 or 5 hours. Pull up the trolling motor and run down the lake maybe 10 miles into a different creek or a different part of the lake that has some different structure in it. You know, instead of, say, maybe you were fishing flatter points in the morning, run up the lake a little bit and get on some steep rocky points, or run back in a creek and start, you know, fishing some boat docks or some lay down trees. The point of this matter is you can't continue to do something that's not working. You have to make an adjustment. And the adjustment, I usually give myself what's called the 20-minute rule. If I try a technique or an area for 20 minutes and I don't get any action whatsoever, I make some adjustment. I make some change. It can be a bait change or an area change, but regardless, I make that change. And eventually, how you get to finding and catching fish is you're going to hit upon the right change eventually. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take you. Main thing, guys, is don't get frustrated if you're not catching them and you hear everybody else is catching them, because it happens to everybody. Just realize that finding fish is the only thing it is. It's just a matter of time. It's like if you keep changing and adjusting, you know, it could take 30 minutes to find them, or it could take 2 days to find them, but you're going to find them. Bass are always out there. They're always there to be caught. You just have to make the right adaptations to it. So anyway, I hope that helps out, guys, and we'll talk later. See you.